Now let's get to thinking about estimation and approximation. As we think about estimation, we want to figure out a number that's pretty close to the exact amount. And we can use mental information about our measurement or visual information in order to think about a good estimate. The thing that we want to do when we estimate is that we don't want to use an instrument for measuring, at least not yet. We might check that to figure out the actual measurement. Now with approximation, this is the language that we can use to estimate, and it should be emphasized that it's not going to be exact. So I might say it's about a foot in length if I was talking about that hammer. Or the top of my index finger is about an inch, all right? So I'm using some language here that's talking about that approximation. So what are some strategies for estimation? One strategy is benchmarking. Here I can use mental benchmarks or reference points for measuring. For example, if I wanted to know the height of this window, I could say, well, I know I've got about 1, 2, 3 feet, and so I understand what a foot represents and what a ruler represents there. And then I've got about half of that remaining, so I would estimate that the height of this window is just about 3.5 feet or 42 inches. Now I can also use chunking, where I can subdivide a problem into smaller, more manageable units. Maybe I want to think about the length of this classroom wall. Now if I know that this chalkboard is 8 feet in length, and I could say, well, that's that chunk over there, then what remains? Oh, that's just about 2 more feet. So I would estimate that this classroom wall is about 10 feet in length. Now some considerations for estimation include the following. Students need a ton of practice here, all right? Estimation doesn't come easily to students, neither does exact measurement, but estimation is particularly tricky. So we need lots of practice opportunities and as many hands-on practice opportunities as possible. You might also want to explicitly teach some estimation strategies. For example, thinking about, well, this is about a foot, so how could I use that to estimate, I'll say, the height of the screen that we're looking at right now. You could ask students to do a lot of discussion in pairs, in small groups, or in whole group about how students made their estimates. And then think about that there's a lot of different ways to estimate. There's not just one way, but we can come at estimations in multiple ways. And then we also want to make sure that we are precise with our language. So if I'm talking about the height of something, or if I'm talking about the length of something, or if I'm talking about the weight of something, I'm using that precise mathematical language. So that brings us here to activity number 1. Now this is a think, pair, share, at least it says that there, because sometimes people do activity 1 in a big group. But you are going to do activity 1 online, so you're just going to think about how you would answer this question, and I hope you will scribble your thoughts right here. But I would like you to think about the different ways that you can provide practice opportunities for students when developing relationships between units. So maybe think about inches to feet, or maybe minutes to hours. Like, what are your students focused on? And then share an activity that you use in your classroom to help students explore the relationships between units.